Hello everyone, this is Dr. Jay Mehta here from Mumbai, and today we'll be trying to discuss about obstructive azoospermia. Now, as we all know, azoospermia typically means zero sperm count, but we have discussed this that in azoospermia there are two predominant types. One is obstructive azoospermia, which indicates that the testicular function and the hormonal level is going to be normal, okay, but there is an obstruction in the outflow tract. As a result of this, there is azoospermia. That means the sperms are not able to be let out of the system. And the second is non-obstructive azoospermia. Now, of course, non-obstructive azoospermia is slightly more common as against obstructive azoospermia. But what we should try and understand that whenever you have obstructive azoospermia, as such, the treatment choice becomes very straightforward. Because of the normal reports, it practically indicates that the sperm production is going to be normal inside the testis. What's important here to observe is that the testicular volume is going to be normal. We of course infiltrate the testis with local anesthesia, and the sperm retrieval requires just fine needle aspiration, which is also called as TEFNA, that is either testiculoepididymal fine needle aspiration, and we will get a good length of the seminiferous tubule, which we will be able to recover in patients where we are doing TEFNA for obstructive azoospermia. You will also be happy to note that once TEFNA is done, the sperm recovery rate following obstructive azoospermia is going to be as high as 95%. These sperms are obviously obtained once the testicular tissue gets shifted to the laboratory. It undergoes further processing wherein the testicular tubules are mashed so that they get broken into small pieces. They are then studied under the microscope in order to identify the sperms. Now, typically once this is done, the tissue which we have processed inside the laboratory is kept in the incubator for approximately 45 minutes to 90 minutes. So now this varies. In some cases it will be 45 minutes, in some cases it will be 75, some cases it will be 90 minutes, and they are incubated in a specialized buffer solution. Now what this does is, you must remember that most of the sperms which are being produced in the testis are not going to be highly mature and are also not going to be highly motile. So this incubation period allows these sperms to gain a little bit of motility. And once this little bit of motility is obtained, these sperms are then processed further for performing ICSI. Now ICSI, as you all know, is the process where a manual fusion of an immotile sperm is done with a oocyte. The reason why it's always going to be ICSI following testicular sperm aspiration is predominantly because of this motility. So as a result of this, we never leave it to IVF. We are never going to allow the sperm to go and naturally fertilize the oocyte as what happens in IVF. It's almost always going to be the procedure of ICSI. Following this, it's very important to remember that we allow the embryos to be cultivated till blastocyst stage, that is day 5, and on an average, the clinical pregnancy rate following testicular sperm extraction for obstructive azoospermia is going to be almost equivalent to the clinical pregnancy rate of any other pregnancy following IVF. This is slightly better than the implantation rates, slightly better clinical pregnancy rates and live birth rates as against the non-obstructive azoospermia variant, where our sperm retrieval rate is going to be slightly on the lower side, approximately 55 to 60%. Our treatment is going to be slightly enlarged, like instead of TEFNA, we are going to be doing the microdissection. And of course, the processing is a little different. But this was a brief overview about obstructive azoospermia, which we thought we will provide to everyone for a better understanding. Thank you.